I mean, I've always worked in record stores and I've managed a lot of stores around the country, like Manchester, Cambridge, Bristol. I'm passionate about what I do. This is my livelihood. My name's Andy and this is Left 4 Dead. I opened the shop the last week of November last year, so I'm just coming up for 3 months. My typical customer, I've got the older crowd who are still buying predominantly CD, and then I've got the younger sort of demographic, sort of like university students, 20-somethings with a disposable income. They're the people who are buying vinyl. So the older people are still sticking to what they know with CDs, but most of the people who buy vinyl these days are sort of between 20 and 35, I would say. The genres I stock are right across the board really, so from classic rock through to alternative modern stuff, metal, punk, jazz, blues, folk, a lot of dub and reggae. And because there's such a massive sort of like 50s vintage presence in the Custard Factory, I sell quite a lot of rock and roll compilations as well. Most popular genre is probably still sort of your alternative indie kind of guitar band stuff. So most of the stuff that I sell on a day-to-day basis are things like the new Caitlin Bond album, the new Wild Beasts album, the Angel Olsen album that came out a couple of weeks ago. That's still sort of like, the driving genre really. Kind of new releases that I take are things that I think fit the whole sort of like profile of what the shop is about. So I won't touch sort of mainstream pop stuff because the kids download all that stuff anyway. If I do well with an Americana release, then the next time more Americana stuff gets released, that's the kind of things that I look at. So it's kind of based on previous sort of like sales histories of things I've traditionally done well with, but it's also things that I've probably got an interest in anyway. Store appeals because there's a lot of second-hand record stores in Birmingham, but nobody really doing much new release and new vinyl. The majority of the stuff that I sell is brand new, direct from the distributors, so it's all audiophile quality records and new CDs direct from the distributor. One of the things that should be a record store's strength is recommendations, customer service, and I think that's been missing. I think on the high street, if you go into a HMV store, it's a completely different environment going into an independent record store. People come in, if someone comes through the door, I like to sort of ask them what they're listening to and point them in the direction of something that I think they'll like. And that's something that I think has been missing to a certain degree on the high street, and that's what independents are really good at, about creating connections with people and customer service. To me, it's quite natural. My favourite record is a bit of a nostalgic thing for me. A band called Love Hate are around in the late 80s, early 90s, and they were an American hair metal band. The album's called Blackout in the Red Room. And when it was released, it was a seminal album. It was Kerrang's album of the year. They were one of those bands where they were massive in the UK in that kind of genre, but in America, the Americans just didn't get them because they had a very sort of British sense of humour. So for the second album, the lead singer, his stage name was Jizzy Pearl, he crucified himself on the Hollywood sign. So he actually hung himself on the sign, and it was just a publicity stunt. I don't think it helped him sell any more records. But as an album, for me, that sums up my kind of misspent youth and growing my hair and just having one of the best summers that I could ever possibly have. But yeah, it would be Blackout in the Red Room by Love Hate.